Hello, everyone. I am so honored to be here speak as a sister of a victim in China's concentration camps and the jail. This is my sister, Rushan Abbas. She's a retired medical doctor, and she has been in concentration camps and then sentenced 20 years in jail in fabricated false charges because of my activism in the United States. As you see the picture on the screen, these are just the sum of the Uyghurs of over 1 million people being incarcerated starting from 2017. My husband's entire family went missing. His parents, siblings, their spouses, and 14 of his nieces and nephews. September 2018, I participated in a public panel at Hudson Institute in one of the think tanks in Washington, D.C., to talk about China's mass incarceration. 5 days later, they took my sister from her home and made her disappear. This is my homeland. We call it East Turkestan, and Chinese government calls it Xinjiang, which means new territory. It's a home for around 20 million Uyghur Turkic Muslim population. The land is size-wise about 1/6 of entire China, and like 4.3 times of Norway. Currently, my homeland is the most sophisticated police state in the world. And cameras with facial recognition softwares monitor Uyghur people's daily lives. And surveillance are fed to shows coverage at all kinds of places like mosques, schools, shopping places, cars. And even the special technology was developed to recognize the Uyghurs' facial features. And by default, it's set as the Uyghurs are suspicious because of our ethnic identity, because of the beautiful culture we have, because of the language we speak and the religion we believe. The Chinese government treats us as abnormal commodities and conducting a full-fledged active genocide today. Every street has cameras, every corner has digital checkpoints, every vehicle has GPS tracking devices and QR scanning codes at homes. Anybody on the street, you are walking around and the police can stop and take your phone, plug into the machine and check if you have been communicating with anybody in abroad, or if you have any cultural files or religious verses. All these can be the reason that you disappear the next day. The technology is also being used to suppress Uyghurs financially. The government officials can walk into the bank and they freeze the Uyghurs' assets, take Uyghurs' lands, transfer their wealth, and then they are being treated as the people who needs jobs as a poverty alleviation program. In 20 years, from 2001 till 2021, the land transfer from the Uyghur farmers to government went up, increased about 50 times. The shirt on your back, the purse you are holding, the seafood that you consume, or the car that you drive, all of them are tainted with Uyghur slaves' blood, sweat, and the tears. 13 tons of human hair. How many lives does that represent? The Uyghur peoples here from Xinjiang made it over to United States Customs and Border Patrol. But we didn't see that in the mainstream media. This is a warning sign. But everybody was just watching and doing nothing. Uyghur children are taken away from their homes, sent to state-run orphanages, also their parents are alive. About 1 million children are in the state-run orphanages. Chinese state media reported that 1.1 million Han Chinese cadres deployed into Uyghur homes live and supervise and monitor Uyghur people's daily lives. While the husbands, most of the men taken to the concentration camps or forced labor facilities, Uyghur women are subject to sexual abuse inside of their own homes. And the special apps are being developed to conduct forced marriages of the Uyghur women to Han Chinese men. Look at her face. That's her wedding day. If she refuses such a forced marriage, herself, her siblings, and her parents will sent to the camp, as radicalized Muslims did not want to marry non-Muslim Han Chinese. I call this government-sponsored sham marriages, government-sponsored mass rape in the name of sham marriages. And also, Uyghur women's bodies are being the battleground of this genocide, while they are facing forced sterilization, forced abortions. And the Chinese embassy in the United States publicly celebrated those genocidal efforts by calling Uyghur women are no longer baby-making machines. The Uyghur birth rate dropped down to 0% in some of the mostly Uyghurs are populated areas. What you see on the screen are just some of the data being used to track and jail the Uyghur people. If you look at those data, like your location, behavioral data, and the digital footprints or biometrics, fed into a system called Integrated Joint Operations Platform, and to predict crime, which means being ethnic Uyghur, which means your communication with your friends or families abroad, which means you are going to mosque or pray. In the meanwhile, mainstream media like CBS and the Discoveries are repeating China's propaganda videos, like showing happy Uyghurs dancing and singing. Well, they are helping the CCP to whitewash the genocide. Meanwhile, this is the reality back home. The Uyghur cultural materials and the books, the cultural and the religion, they're all being burned. Our places of worship is demolished. And the Uyghurs are being, the culture and the religion, everything is being criminalized. When we speak out, we are a target on everywhere, social media, Twitter, Facebook, and all kind of interesting cartoons of me all over my social media. And there's a funny video with interesting Australian accent with perfect English, which I don't speak perfect English. And this is actually a tweet from one of the Chinese government official, Zhao Lijuan, Deputy Director at the Foreign Ministry, tweeting and spreading libel and harassment against me, try to discredit my work. This is not the isolated case for me. Almost every single Uyghur activists in diaspora who are brave enough to speak out are being targeted. We receive death threats. We receive targeted attacks on spyware and phishing attempts. Also, the Chinese government uses the Uyghurs' family members back home, and they threaten them with their family members' safety. Basically, we do our advocacy at the cost of our loved ones' freedom, and while our neck is being held by the Chinese government when they have our family members as a hostage. This is a transnational repression, and that should be recognized by international crimes against humanity. What's happening to my people right now in my homeland, first tested in Tibet. That's where they started. Then they expanded and corrected the technology and used sophisticated, all kind of high tech combined with racism. They are conducting full-fledged active genocide against my people. Then Hong Kong, now Taiwan. And everybody, all of you will be next if we don't stop China right now. There's so many governments around the world using the same cameras from the Chinese government in their government buildings. And over 50% of the African countries are using the Chinese camera systems. If you look at Central Asia, Southeast Asia, Africa, everywhere they are using China's cameras and the security systems and surveillance systems. At least 102 police stations all over the world, and there are more than 50 in Europe. Chinese government has police stations in your country. What does that mean for your national security? Chinese government is using the very same technology that's being developed to make the human lives better. But if those technologies are empowered the tyranny, then that is another kind of sophisticated genocide, modern genocide. When they took my sister, they forgot one thing, or they never understand the power of love. The love I have for my sister, the love I have for my people, the love I have for freedom and the democracy, which is being at stake right now. Because what's happening to Uyghurs, or what happened in Tibet, or what they did in Hong Kong, turning the democracy in the dark place and overnight in the front of everybody's watch, well, that's not staying within China's borders anymore. It's expanding everywhere with China's Belt and Road Initiative and the debt trap diplomacy and the manipulations in the United Nations and everything they are doing with transnational repression, not just targeting the people of their own descent, but people all over the world, whoever speaks out, the journalists, researchers. So if we don't defend that freedom and the democracy we have, then just remember what I talked today, what you saw today, and that is the future for this free world. Look at those eyes. Look at those faces. This was the last leak, the Chinese government's own leaked data 3 years ago, called Xinjiang Police Files. Thousands of pictures. Those teenagers, 14, 15, 16 years old, they belong to schools. And those grandma and grandpa, 70, 80 years old, what kind of national security threat they bring to a country like China? Speak out, because the silence is the oxygen of the tyranny. If we don't speak out, then the only voice left will be one of regret. And we are all responsible for what happens next. Thank you.